So, supposedly, in this big mess, this is my daily. And I have to fix it as soon as possible because I have to return the car that I'm actually using right now.
Volkswagen.
Today, we're doing wiring. So, a bit of an explanation. This car was actually an automatic before. I don't know how or when did it convert to a manual, but I bought it as manual. And in this case, there's a lot of wires that aren't supposed to be here because they weren't covered. They're still active, caused corrosion, linked each other, and started malfunctioning the ECU, check engine lights, blah blah blah. We have to convert it normally to a manual as it should be. I have to show you some of the things I've got upgrades. We have to switch out the ECU, engine management unit, because it's still from an automatic and I have a lot of them that are basically manual. And also because we cannot only switch the ECU out, we have to switch out the key, steering column, and the central. The lights cut off. First things first, in this big mess we have to turn on the heating. If you're not used to soldering, I have a life hack for you that not a lot of people know. These are basically heat shrink wrap with built-in solder. Basically what it does, you heat it up, so solder melts in the middle, and you have those like blue, yellow, red dots. They also have glue in them, so they solder up the wire and afterwards seal out from any environment, other things that may cause corrosion afterwards. So today I'm gonna show you how to use them and how to properly seal out wires that shouldn't be active and how to manage them afterwards. So basically what I have to do now is set up my heat gun or soldering iron. So I specifically bought this Yato one because it goes way beyond 300 degrees or something. It has like lots of adapters for different specific needs, I presume. You can have a really small one, a big one, and basically use it any way you want. And it also has an automatic feature where it reduces the heat until the minimum charge and it shuts it down automatically when you put down the handle. So yeah, let's plug it in and go do the wiring. So first things first, we have to cut them off, and then when we cut the tips off, we want to measure that every wire is a bit different than each other. Make them, let's say, about 2 centimeters shorter from each other. Afterwards, when we bundle up the wires we don't want, they won't create a huge lump in the wiring harness and it won't be that noticeable as in the first place. So that's why we create the, let's say, ladder or a stepping stool motion in the wires, so we can then shrink them one by one without them touching each other, and also we won't create a big bulb or gulp in the wiring loop. So now that we have finished the wiring and every single wire is basically sealed on its own individually, we can bunch up the wires using some isolation tape or electrical tape and basically make it look nice. That's it. Now I can nicely tuck it in without it being exposed to the environment. But remember, the only thing you need to take into account that the heat shrink with glue, it stiffens up and you cannot bend it as easily as before. So it is not as flexible as a wire Now I want to finish up the wiring up here. Try squishing the wire from every single corner so that the glue sticks to it basically. By doing that, I make sure that the glue makes contact with the wire and it does not let moisture in afterwards. So now we are done with the concealed wires and we have to finish up our job with connecting this big wire which goes to the starter. So what I'm trying to say here is that the starter is way below the exhaust manifold, and to fix the wire, place it completely, I would have to take off the starter, then remove the wire, then remove the wire from the pin and replace the whole thing. So to reduce work, I thought that soldering would be the best option, and it was. It gave me the result I wanted. It was easy and it worked. So specifically for this wire, I'm trying to use a lot of heat shrink because it's a big wire and it's an important wire. I don't want it to corrode or get any warp if possible. You just insert the wire to the heat shrink which has the solder in it. You take both ends, you just join them up, untangle them, don't spin them, nothing. You just join them together and then you spin the ends a bit and try to create a bond. Then you slide in the heat shrink, try spinning it so that every metal bit goes inside. Then in the middle of it, preheat the heat gun. If you're doing it with a lighter, you can go straight away, but try having the flame below the solder, not the flame on the heat shrink and solder, because it can damage the heat shrink and then burn the heat shrink. But that's why I use glue afterwards also. So basically the solder melted into the wire. It left like a line outside which indicates that the solder was there, but it went inside and now it's a strong bond between the wires because there's basically metal bonding them together. And now I slide the other half of my heat shrink, which also has glue in it, and let's heat it up and make the seal even tighter. Okay, in my opinion, this is a really nice repair and we managed to save a wire. And now the only thing we have to do is basically bundle up all the wires and plug it back in. Then we should have a properly working car, I presume. If you figured, I'm using green electric tape. If you're wondering why, there's actually no reason. Basically, what I'm thinking about is if I put the green electrical tape around the wires, I know that I did the repair, and I only do it as my own preference, nothing really in particular. And plus, I didn't find any fuzzy tape. I want to do it with fuzzy tape. I will go buy some. What I'm doing now is there's a junction in which the wires split off a bit. So what I want to do is connect, let's say, one junction to the other and create a space where they can just go with a flow and not interact with each other. So basically I have to reroute them a bit. it's quite easy. And I will show you how to create a junction, which looks nice. Here you can see two wires, the bunch of wires that I don't need, and this is a reverse light switch, so I need this. And basically what I'm gonna do is bundle these two up and then bundle the other half that goes to the main wiring harness separately. So just basically you take the first half, you make a loop, then in this T-form junction, what you want to do is basically create a point where you want it to split, and basically it's almost at the bend. You wrap it, then once it's wrapped, you just wrap it here, then here, and then here. So we're back from the shop and I got some fuzzy isolation tape and we're finishing the job. Next time I will make sure my hands are not in the way. Now we'll take a zip tie. I love using neon green zip ties because then I can see them if I don't have a light. Okay, now that the wires are out of the way, so now, guys, I'm taking you to the back. You will help me to notice if there is a reverse light or no. It works. Now let's try starting the car. we've done everything we could, and the car starts, even runs. The reverse light is working, so now we can pass inspection. That is wonderful. We still have some work on the front. Change the oil, change the coolant, change the front strut mounts because they're ripped apart. They're rubber and they're ripped apart. I don't know if I'm changing the whole suspension, like the strut and everything, but the strut mounts I'm definitely changing. I have those. Also, I think I will check the steering, but it's quite tight, so maybe nothing is there, and I have to clean up a bit of oil spill because they don't like oil in the MOT or the annual inspection. So yeah, see you guys on another project. Hey guys, thank you for watching till the end of the video, and I'm really happy because the best thing you can do is actually watch the video to the end and actually enjoy it. So if you liked it, leave a comment below. If you did not like it, leave a comment below. If you have anything to say, give me regards or even tips on how to improve, let me know down below, and that would be awesome. And have a great evening.